Today we're looking at a series overview of Roland's LX series, their luxury premium piano, an incredible series that has some very unique features, only exclusive to Roland. Really fun stuff. We're going to talk about the 705, the 706, and the prestigious 708. Stick around, we'll be talking about the differences in the feature set that you can find on all of them.
Hi, this is Ted with Alamo Music Center in San Antonio, Texas.
I'm Patrick Marr. You can find us online at alamomusic.com. Make sure to check out our new website, Alamo Piano Galleries. It highlights alamopianogalleries.com. It highlights our 9 stores across the country. Come see which one's nearest to you. Come say hi to some smiley, great musician faces. Play some fantastic instruments. Play some wonderful pianos. But come say hi to us. We'd really appreciate it. Today we are looking at the LX series from Roland, their premium piano.
Great piano line. I love these instruments a lot.
They're fantastic. They really have the idea of a great cabinet sound, feel, and really their placement in the market for this is a piano. They don't call it a digital piano. They don't, specify.
Roland pianos.
So it is their piano line, the LX series, very, very popular in schools and universities. But before we jump right into it, we're going to start with a piano fact.
The piano fact is of the day. We're going to remember this video. This is day 2 of no air conditioning. So if I'm not clear or stammering or like dozing off someplace, it's hard to concentrate.
Well, and
so I just want to make a point. This is like hot yoga pianos.
And the piano fact has a lot to do with sweat.
Think
about it.
Yeah, because you brought up these key tops, and that's the whole idea behind piano key tops. Is they're supposed to allow you to still have a grip even if they get wet, and they're supposed to absorb sweat or repel it so it goes off or something like that.
Yeah, and so that's kind of like the idea when you hear of ebony and ivory. The originals were made out of ivory. All key tops on a piano were going to be either bone or ivory. You still see them on old pianos sometimes that come in. It's kind of fun to see, and really the dead giveaway is you see a line, where the sharps come down. If you see a line across all the white notes, it's usually ivory or bone because it's been applied in a stem and in like the more flat part or the more square rectangle part of the key.
And for a lot of historians, a piano top ivory isn't good enough. There is walrus ivory, then there's tusk ivory, then there's walrus ivory is tusk ivory, but there's elephant ivory. And there's all the some manufacturers, I'm not sure which one you were talking about, use mammoth ivory because it's not illegally harvested. It's found.
Yeah, Grogan pianos, they use...
Grotrian uses...
Grotrian
uses...
Grogan brothers were here in town.
And someone else, someone else uses mammoth ivory, and I think they're starting to use it for the bone piece on guitars. And stuff. Yeah, I read an article recently on mammoth ivory, but it wasn't for pianos.
Yeah, so on new pianos and even on digital pianos, there's a lot of marketing that goes into what is going to be presented on the instrument, especially when you get to a higher grade instrument. But also the technology, research and development that goes into key tops is really important for premium pianos. Yamaha has their Ivorite that they've been doing for a long time. Kawai has their Neotex, and this is it's in some ways the base is still probably like some form of acrylic,
right.
But they've mixed in new materials that do what ivory did, which is absorb moisture off your fingertips. It really makes you feel like you have more of a grip on the instrument. Sometimes when people play an old piano and they play the ivory, like this feels weird. It's like my fingers are kind of getting stuck. But that is like the traditional way of the piano was made, and
right.
And is the traditional feel. The more mass-produced instruments are going to be acrylic, white key tops, and then a lot of times the ebonies will be some sort of plastic component anyways. But as it gets nicer, there are companies that have some sort of researched ivory feel, whether it's a textured feel or whether it actually is doing something to absorb moisture. Again, on nicer instruments, you will get like real ebony wood as your sharps as well.
Well, historically on synths and even from like electric pianos in the 60s and the 70s and organs, no one really cared so much about it was just plastic keys. But with the development of digital piano, it has to be more like a piano. So then each manufacturer, one by one, came up with their ivory version of some kind of combination of resins and plastics or like graphic, all these different kind of things, or assimilated ebony. They'll take dust and turn it into a key with glue. You know what I mean? Like wood dust, and then turn it into, or sawdust, and turn it into, really cool looking keys that are absorbent, and they stain them so they look like ivory, ebony. So over the years, just as the pianos get better, every manufacturer comes out with their specialized term for their ebony and ivory keys. Whereas on a lot of synths and everything, and even on the lower end keyboards you get for $100, $200, it's just plastic, which is what everything used to be.
Mm-hmm. And so, as we look at the Roland today, they do have an ivory feel, ebony feel that they put into their instrument, and it is going to be their most advanced, especially on the LX series. But the ivory feel, ebony feel. As we look at the line today, the LX series, there are three primary models: the 705, the 706, and the 708. All of them are going to have the same engine inside of it, the same modeling engine. How it is produced with sound, the speaker system, the wattage will change as you move up, of course. The cabinet design does change as well as you move up. But for the most part, the pure acoustic sound model that it has is really what Roland is proud of. It, back in the early, I think it was in like 2010, 2011, they had the V piano that came out, and it was revolutionary. It was the first fully modeled instrument. It cost $20,000, and it only had that piano tone in it. And that piano tone didn't ever start with a sample. They never mic'd an instrument and recorded the piano being played and then put it in their digital piano. They actually created a home modeling software, very similar to like Pianotek's VST nowadays that people really like online, or as that technology, the virtual technology. But this is in the unit. It's in a fully researched and developed Roland instrument, and Roland really, their history is in research and development. They have a patent on the MIDI. The founder of Roland has a co-patent on MIDI technology. That's how involved they've been in a lot of music technology and where it's come from. This full pure acoustic modeling, it allows for unlimited polyphony. It allows for every minute movement of a key is being triggered and not firing off a sample. And they really can't stress it enough how much the dynamic range is affected by having a sample, because you're triggering a 9-foot piano, whereas on these instruments you're triggering the piano.
Right.
And so that pure acoustic modeling is really popular. People, are over the moon about how it sounds. It is a step up from their HP series, and it's their top of their line. And
I've been impressed with these things since they showed up on the showroom floor. They're just really wonderful instruments, all three of them. And I think they're properly graded within their price range in terms of what you get. But if you start shopping at the top with the LX708, and then you go down to the 706, the 705, you really have to make a choice, because each one sounds like a separate piano. Even though they may have so many similarities within the sound cards and stuff like that, each has its own cabinet and speaker design, and also makes full use of resonance on the larger one, and then some on the smaller one.
Yeah, I think it's interesting as you look at the output wattage. So on the 708 and the 706, they have the same output. The same wattage is coming out of there, 74 watts.
Right.
But the way that they split it up, there's a 6-speaker system on the 706, and there's an 8-speaker system on the 708. So they're really using the same amount of power output, but they're spreading the sound out and really making the cabinet do what an acoustic piano cabinet does and resonate as a box. And so that is, and the 705 has a 4-way speaker, a little bit reduced in power output. Instead of 74, I believe it's in the 60s. So you just a little bit of a step down, and then only a 4-way speaker system. So again, as you move up, the box changes, and the the overall experience changes, because you don't get that big of a box. And on the 708, they actually have haptic feedback on the keys.
It resonates. It has vibration.
So the keys actually vibrate with the sample that you're playing. Very, very similar to an acoustic piano, where you feel the vibration through the keys. All of them are going to have the same, not only the same pure acoustic modeling, but they have the same 324 voices, tones that come with it. Those are going to be, 256 note polyphony, but they have, people talk about Roland having the best electric piano sounds available on the market. Some people say Nord, some people say Roland. But really incredible electric pianos. And we're going to listen to some of the samples here. They all are Bluetooth capable, so you can connect with it Bluetooth, whether that's MIDI with like an application on an iPad or an Android device, or whether it's Bluetooth audio where you're actually pairing it and you can play music from your library, or you can play a YouTube video and it uses the speaker system of the instrument. But really,
sound system.
Really, this is their LX series, and they say, hey, we're going to put our best sounds in all three of them. We're not going to divvy it up. But, the one thing that does change is the action. So as you move up, you get in the 705, you get the PHA50, which is a great action. It's their second, the model right below the top of the line. As you move up to the 706 and the 708, you get the it's their grand hybrid feel, but it's they actually call it the PHA 100 now, but that has the longest pivot point of any digital keyboard from the top manufacturers. It's the key length is longer and the pivot point is actually longer, so you have a lot of dynamic expression and a lot of control from the keys.
Those two play almost identical to me.
There's about a 2-inch difference in the cabinet design. I think it's like 44 to 46 inches, and then of course the four-way 8-speaker system and the 3-way 6-speaker system. As you mtake you get the more speakers and a little bit of a different sound. So we're just going to listen to just real quick all three of them and take a listen. We'll splice it up. We've done demos on all three of these, but we'll use sounds from all of them. Again, the biggest difference is going to be the feel of these instruments. The sound engine is going to be identical on all three. So we'll kind of spice it up there for you. But let's take a listen to some of the tones that are going to be available on the LX series.
Well, Patrick, if this is one thing most people won't notice, and that's probably why it's a feature they put on the 708, that damper pedal has more detail to it than the damper pedal on the other two units. And
Yeah.
the thing is, that left pedal doesn't really get used a lot by players, and I use it almost all the time, particularly on acoustic instruments. I mean, the first thing I do when I sit down at a grand piano or an upright is put my foot on that damper pedal to make sure it starts off at the lowest volume. That's just one of the things that I like. But they all have the same tone in terms of the sound that comes out of it, but the way that sound comes out of the box is different. It's like a big piano, a medium piano, and a smaller piano.
Yeah. So the damper pedal, they call it. It's responsive on the LX708, and it's progressive on the other one. So you have more gradient fluid movement on it, and even you can half pedal and do all that stuff with that damper pedal. The price points on these, the LX705 comes in at $43.99, and the finishes, it also has the most options for finishes. It's the entry price point for their model. So at $42.99, you can get like a light oak, a rosewood, a flat black. And then as you move up, the options are more limited on the 706 and 708, but they do have the core colors that you're looking for. The 706 comes in at $53.99, $1,000 more, and then the 708 jumps up to $75.99. If you do get polished ebony in any of those, it has a premium of about $800 to $1,000 more, and that's just the finishing is different.
Any of them in ebony is more reminiscent and a direct look like real piano, just based on most pianos are either satin or polished ebony.
Yeah. Well, and so the big thing again is the feel when you move up from the 705 to the 706. You start getting that longer key point, and it's a significantly longer key, and so a lot of people will say that jump is well worth it. Again, moving up to the highest level, the 708, it's a big jump.
It's a finer refinement of the details of playing an upgraded piano.
Yeah, and on that PHA 100, there's actually like a stabilizer pin too, so the keys can't move left to right. It's actually on a pin, so it's more vertical alignment, and so you don't get any sort of wiggle. The real nice thing about Roland is they have a 10-year warranty on all their pianos. So 10-year warranty, parts and labor, and they have in-home service available with it. So it's on-site. Really a popular instrument for schools, universities, labs. We see a lot of HPs go out to labs, but usually the teacher model is an LX, or if it's in a choir room and it's a one-off, a lot of times people will go for the LX, the better sound sound model, and better action. Just really, really fantastic instruments. We're really excited to have the LX series. It's, people usually compare the LX series to the premium CA series from Kawai, and they compare it to the premium CVP series and some of the high CLP series from Yamaha. We will be comparing it against some of that as well, because we want to get our take on it and see really when they're both in the room which one's the better instrument. And I think it really comes down to which details are more important to you. All make a fantastic instrument. Roland, Yamaha, Kawai, they all have fantastic instruments, but the difference is Roland stops here and they say this is our best piano.
Well, here's the other thing too, is they as a developer and manufacturer and distributor of their own pianos, Roland pianos, they stand behind this product 100%, because think of how many things you go out and buy in this day and age where you get a 10-year on parts and labor and they show up to fix it.
Well, if it's an electronic too.
That's, to me, this is the most confident piano purchase anyone could make, whether it's digital or real or whatever they want to call it. There's confidence in that purchase, which explains why school districts and churches and institutions and even at home, you would have this. So like it'll always work, or there'll be something that always works.
Yeah. Well, if you've owned an LX series in the past, or if you've bought one of the new LX700 series, please leave comments. We really would appreciate your take on, hey, this is why I chose this one, or hey, I played all of them and this is why I ended up going with Roland, or why I ended up going with Kawai, or whatever the story is. Those will be impactful for people looking to make a decision. And at the end of the day, we're all looking for more people to have the better instrument that they can grow with and really learn to love and become one with, because that's what music's all about. So please leave those comments. Make sure you're subscribed. We will be comparing the LX series from Roland to other manufacturers and also to the HP series at some point. And so you won't want to miss that, because you'll be able to go through line item by line item. But make sure you're subscribed. We love to make content for you, and it really helps us out. Ted Barslew, I'm Patrick Marr with Alamo Music, and we will see you next time.